I think that we all understand at a fairly deep level that when you grow and when you change and when you evolve and when you go in a different direction, it is 1000% going to affect the people around you. I think the thing that surprises us the most is how those people react.
We've done a lot of episodes in the past about growing pains. One of the biggest growing pains on this journey for me has been how my personal growth and personal development has impacted my relationships. When you grow, you must change. When you change, the people in your life sometimes react positively and other times they react negatively.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2056, why real personal growth always affects your relationships. I don't know why I didn't. It is a real shame, but why are we surprised?
I know.
Now it makes it's like
perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. But in the beginning, was I naive? Was I just ignorant? Did I not? Maybe I just assumed everybody wanted to grow in the same way, in the same direction, at the same rate of speed that I did. Why is it so surprising when it happens?
What was the misbelief in hindsight? Mine was, if I get better, my relationships should also get better. That is so wildly not the case.
I don't think I had any specific beliefs. It was just, I did not have a assumption. I didn't have an assumption that if I improved my relationships, well, I don't think it was that. It was more, oh my goodness, I've changed a lot. And now things are not aligned like they once were. That.
You have any friends growing up that you thought you'd be Biffles? Best friends for life?
Of course.
Biffle was a big word big acronym back in Kevin and I's day.
Of course.
We did the preschool, kindergarten, middle school, high school together. And then I went on to college and corporate, and you did not do the college thing.
I stayed behind.
But I had many Biffles.
Yeah.
Which, by definition, you can only have one best friend for life. We were on a podcast recently together, 3-person conversation, me and Kevin. He said, my other best friend. And in my head, I went, you gotta pick one, brother.
I know. I'm gonna pick a random third.
I don't know if I want you to pick, because I think it would be Matt.
It's hard, because I spend so much freaking time with you. If I had to pick one, I don't know.
Best business partner, I'll take that.
Yeah. Best business partner for life. Biffle.
Biffle. So, you had a Biffle?
Yeah, many.
Let's keep it anonymous, but I had one, and I'm thinking of this person anonymously. And I was so sure we were going to start a company together. We were going to go to college together. We were going to be friends. I remember his father and his uncle would hang out all the time. They were brothers, obviously, so it's a little different, but he and I would talk about how they still get together all these years later. They would go and they would ride their motorcycles together. And I was like, yeah, that looks really cool. They're in their mid 40s, early 50s. They're getting together. That must be such a trip to have grown up together and to still be close all those years later. It just seems very endearing. And then you grow up and realize that is wildly not the case, depending on the journey you choose, particularly personal development.
Well, it makes sense because, okay, what's happening? When you're growing, you're changing your priorities, you're changing your focuses, you're changing your responsibility, you're changing your intentions, you're changing your habits, you're changing so many things about yourself, which by definition is going to affect your relationship. So if one of those two people had a conversation with their partner and they went through a growth phase where they said, you know what, this riding this motorcycle thing, yeah, I feel like it's kind of dangerous and I'm not really spending time with my family like I used to. And as I get older, it's not as much of a priority. That relationship has to change now.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it has to break. It doesn't mean they can't be friends. It doesn't mean they can't hang out. But by definition, something is going to change. And it kind of has to. I was thinking the other day, I had a really good friend in high school. Really, really, really good friend in high school.
Was it me?
No, it was not you. No. He ended up getting hurt. And he went down a path of just not goodness, just addiction and all sorts of stuff. And I remember how challenging it was for me to realize I was never going to be friends with him again.
Yep.
It was fucking devastating.
It's the worst.
Like, it was the worst. I remember it was like the hardest thing, felt like it was the hardest thing ever at that point. Now, that wasn't from a place of me, quote unquote.
You still emotional about it at all?
I still get sad about it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I can see the
Not
emotion in your eyes right now.
not like it doesn't keep me up at night or anything like that. But I remember I would have a song that would play, and it was like, oh, every time I heard that song, it was like, oh my God. Oh my God. We were like brothers.
You lived with this person, right?
I lived at this person's house. It wasn't for them. Like, we didn't live together, but I lived there while he lived there. Like, I lived with Matt. I moved in to live with Matt.
Yeah.
This person lived there while I lived there. So it wasn't, I don't think he was very happy that I was living there. One night he came in, so I was staying in the guest bedroom, and he came in hammered. And he, like, got in my face. He's like, dude, why'd you fucking leave, man? Like, why'd you leave me behind? And I was like, dude, I gave you every fucking chance in the world. Every chance in the world. Like, how fucking dare you say that to me? And I was like, you better back up, son. You come in here with your drunk ass, trying to throw blame at me. I ain't the one. And you know I'm not the one. So you better back the fuck up.
Is that actually what you said?
No, I didn't say almost any of that. I probably cowered in the corner. No, I did say, like, dude, I gave you every opportunity in the world. I stayed behind for you. I went out of my way for you. I was the only one there. Only one there.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see it. You can't blame me now. That's not fair. It's not fair to blame me.
Nice.
It was brutal. I don't know why I'm mentioning any of this, because it doesn't have anything to do really with the episode other than the relationships part. But
yeah,
I think growth, I don't know. I think I was ignorant to the fact that if you change, everything changes. And the hard part is, yes, some people will be like, hell yeah, good for you. Usually when it benefits them directly. But many people, unfortunately, will be like, oh, yeah, no, you can't hang out anymore? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're that type of person now? You'd rather go to the gym? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, you have a podcast interview? Oh, yeah, okay. Can't come to the fucking barbecue anymore? Oh, okay. And then eventually they stop calling you and they stop texting you. Now, for me, it's like, hell yeah. Now I don't have to say no anymore. So I don't really mind it that much. I don't mind it that much. But I understand that is one of the, and we're joking about it, but I understand that's one of the deepest pains for people.
Oh, yeah, it's the worst.
So I don't want to lessen that.
Just because I'm smiling and laughing, for some reason, when Kev tells these, it's because he's built something of himself. And I was thinking about this earlier too. We're both overall, we're very statistically fulfilled with where we've ended up. So it's easier to laugh about it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas that could have gone a whole nother way. And at the time, it was not funny at all. And the only reason why I can be playful now is because obviously, we've built a life that we can be proud of. So things all worked out. But at the time, it was, to me, on the personal development journey, the personal growth journey, the hero's journey, whatever you want to call it, relationships were the hardest by far.
Do you think it's because you were growing so much? Or do you think it's because you didn't understand? Like, what was, if you could coach old Alan, what would you say?
I would say you are thinking at all times about your future, and you're extremely goal-oriented. We did a training yesterday, monthly meetup. Shout out to anyone who came. It was about what the top 3% of goal achievers do differently. And it was just reason number 1, reason number 2, reason number 3 that most people don't achieve their goals, because statistically speaking, most people don't. Most people don't have clear written goals that they achieve. Most people don't achieve their goals and dreams.
Great title.
Nice. I think that was one of the learning objectives. The title was different. I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Great objective.
Oh, thank you. Well, so an FYI, by the way, announcement.
I've been fired. I'm not going to be on him anymore.
Kev has not been fired. I made the announcement yesterday on the meetup.
Was there celebration and confetti? Were people
there was mostly tears. No, tears of joy. Ultimately, it was a whole opener of Kev was supposed to be here. Kevin and I have had some conversations. We're 8 years into business. We're both spread very thin. We don't have a lot of time. We got to start reallocating our time. Kev has a bunch of stuff he has to do. We have some of the team that's traveling. It was a whole thing. But ultimately, I'm going to be running the department for monthly meetups. And Amy was there. Christina was there. We still have the virtual event coordinator. We still have the chat master. And I'm going to be the presenter. And it really has become, and I'm okay. I said this to them too. I said, I'm okay with it if this turns into similar to book club where this is kind of live coaching. So I'll come with a presentation and it'll be a topic that's specific. And I'm here. I said, I'm not here for fun. I'm not here for the, like, we're here to learn ultimately. And Kev can't be here, but don't be afraid to engage and also don't feel obligated. So anyways, that's just an announcement. But what would I say to my younger self about this? The growing thing and the outgrowing people or the relationship shifts. Alan, you're very future oriented. You're very goal oriented. You don't really know that other people aren't because the people around you are acting like they are. And or you're just delusional in thinking like maybe you're not thinking about it. But when I look back, everyone around me always talked about dreams and goals. Always. I'm not kidding. I mean, from the moment I met you to now, we've been talking about goals and dreams. And by met, I don't mean we met in middle school, but we reconnected in our mid-20s. So it's kind of a whole thing. It's not easy to tell that story. But when you and I reconnected in our 20s, we've spoken about goals and dreams and hyper-consciousness and personal development and success and achievement and relationships and health, wealth, life, and love pretty much every time we've ever hung out for the most part. That's my life. I don't feel like I ever talk about anything else, to be quite frank. And occasionally we do. Like, I remember at Thanksgiving we had some conversations that I thought were, I don't know, kind of, I don't want to say irrelevant, but definitely not a super useful of our consciousness, useful use of our time and effort. So growing up, I didn't understand. I lived in an echo chamber where everyone had goals and dreams. Even this friend that I'm referring to, similar to your best friend at the time, we talked about starting a company together. We argued Apple or Microsoft and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. And we were talking about, we built our first computer together and we had dreams. We were going to build a video game company together. And I had another friend of mine, we were going to be pro gamers. And I just realized that this whole goal and dream thing might have been more a byproduct of my goals than it was of theirs. And now that I look back, what I would tell Alan is you're a dreamer through and through. You're an achiever through and through. You're a goal-oriented person through and through. And other people around you are going to appear to be more goal-oriented than they actually are. And what you don't realize is that goals in conflict and core values in conflict are going to arise later in life when other people stop at base camp 1 or base camp 2 or base camp 3. And I've even said this to you. I said, Kev, I have to do this. I feel called to do this. I'm going to consider myself a failure if I don't do this. Like I'm going to regret it if I don't keep climbing. Not everyone has that, apparently. And when I say apparently, I don't mean that as some pretentious thing. I mean that as I don't know what that's like. What I do know is I am supposed to continue to grow forever. I'm supposed to climb the highest mountain possible. And I've always felt that way. I've never, ever just played basketball to play basketball. I've never snowboarded just to snowboard. I've never had a conversation just to have a conversation. Like everything has always been building. And last piece here is I always say this. I say this to my clients. I build the self, I build the family, I build the business. I build the self, I build the family, I build the business. I don't do anything outside of those three things. Every day, every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year is building the self, personal development, the family, Emilia and myself, our immediate family, and then the businesses. And we were talking about a charity she's going to start, an environmental charity. It's going to be a part of Evolve Ventures. It's going to be called Evolve Environments. And we're already talking about what we're going to do with that. And every day, just on our walk, we were talking about that. We're going to Yellowstone National Park on a road trip, and she's talking about logging endangered biodiversity as the first step in building that charity. And it's okay, awesome, purposeful travel. Like I'm never going to travel just to travel. I'm going to make every second count. And when I lived in a way where I didn't make every second count, I was miserable. So I don't want to go back. And unfortunately, a lot of people find it difficult to be around someone like that.
What advice, because we joke about it all the time. It's like, all right, welcome to Next Level University, where you will level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth, and lose most of your friends.
Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there.
What constructive advice, as two humans who have done a lot of growth and lost a lot of people, what constructive advice would you give on setting the right expectations for growth?
I made the mistake of using my brain instead of my gut.
Ooh.
You and I talked about this earlier. I have a client right now who's doing a CIFIC certification. It's a financial certification, and we're sort of study buddies, for lack of better phrasing, and I'm helping him, and we went through all the questions. He's like, I feel like I need to figure out, when I go with my gut, sometimes I change my answer and I get it wrong. And I went through 20 questions and I said, brain or gut, brain or gut, brain or gut, and check. And, okay, what did you get right? What did you get wrong? Did the brain win or the gut win? This is a financial certification. The brain won. It wasn't close. Don't go with your gut. Go with deductive reasoning. Go with analytical thinking. Go with your prefrontal cortex. But when it comes to people, do not do that. Go with your gut. So that's the most practical advice I have, is I use my brain for everything. That was a huge mistake. I should have trusted my gut with people.
This is mine. Very different. Decide who you really, 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 really want to keep in your life. Like, decide, okay, what are your priorities for success and fulfillment and habits and all that? Like, let's lock down your external skill-based priorities. Who are your priority people? You're probably not going to be able to have 20 of them, though. You're probably not going to be able to have 20 of them. And you're probably going to let some people down. You're definitely going to let some people down. You're probably going to let some people down that you don't want to. Like, even the priority people are going to get let down, depending on what do you value more, right? Like, that's a really big piece. But there's the reason I have very few relationships, like very few deep ones, is because I know I'm incapable of sustaining more. I just can't. I don't have the time. And it's just not that big of a priority. I was talking about this on a podcast recently, and we'll pop after this. I was talking about how I told my story about how my dad reached out when I was 26 or 27. I went and saw my dad. I saw him a couple times. The first time I went to his house, he gave me a large bushel of marijuana to take home with me. Shout out, Pops. Appreciate that. It's a great gift. A great gift after not seeing your son for 27 years. Here's a bag of weed. You know what? I accept that. And I was talking about how I got to the point where eventually I was like, honestly, I'm going to let this die. I'm just going to let this relationship die. And they were like, oh, that was super mature of you. And I said, nah, it's not as mature as you think. It was more the fact that I knew, it was awareness. I'm not willing to do what it takes to make this relationship successful. There's no point in drawing this out. There's no point. There's no way. It's not a priority. Okay, so am I going to pick going to see my estranged father over spending time with my wife? No.
That's so valuable to hear because again, you had more pragmatism when it came to relationships because you struggled with self-belief.
What does that even mean? What is pragmatism?
Pragmatic.
I know pragmatic.
Practicality.
Okay.
Yeah. Pragmatism,
sure.
pragmatic, same thing.
Okay.
Different tense, maybe. Pragmatism. I do not know. That's the answer. You were more practical than I was when it came to relationships because I think you had lower belief. So I was so optimistic.
Yeah.
I had so much belief that I thought I honestly was naive enough to think that I could pour into 50 relationships and still be successful. You had to play closer to the hip, for lack of better phrasing, of I got to conserve my resources because I don't think I can win even with all of what I got. I can't give it away for free. And so for those of you out there, and we did this on, maybe we were on a podcast. I forget where it was, but when someone asked me about saying yes or group coaching, it was in group coaching. There was, what would you say? Should I say no more or say yes more? And I said it depends where you are on the drive to 5. The drive to 5, the low end of the drive to 5 means you're on Kevin's end where you struggle with self-belief and you basically don't believe you can make it even if you do everything you can, and you have to really learn how to encourage yourself and be supported and surround yourself with people who believe in you and all that kind of thing. If you're on my end of the drive to 5, you are arrogant and don't know it, meaning you think you can bring everyone with you. You have so much belief that you think, oh yeah, I can have all these friends and succeed. And there's some integration there too, because a lot of companies and businesses, like back when I was in sales, relationships also helped you be more successful. And that's the whole network is your net worth and all that stuff. So it does depend. But ultimately, if you're out there and you struggle with self-belief, you probably need to say yes more and actually have more relationships that you water and nourish. If you're like me, because if I could go back in time, I would say this for me. I'd say, Alan, you need to learn how to be discerning ASAP. You are not discerning. You're giving away all that you have all the time because you feel like you're giving away from an abundant supply that's never ending. And then when I got in my car accident at 26, I realized, this is not never ending. I only have a certain number of days on this earth, and I need to invest my time more wisely. I am so disappointed in how Alan invested his time. So disappointed. Now, that's not to beat myself up. It's to just admit that I spread myself too thin with too many people. So quality over quantity is what I would give me for advice. If I could go back in time, though, and talk to younger Kev, I would say, Kev, you got to go meet some new people and you got to put yourself out there and you got to get around some really successful people so that you can learn what it's like to be around people that really are achievers and, learn how the world works a little more and put yourself out there and whatever it is. And I think that you had to learn how to say yes and I had to learn how to say no.
For sure.
You had to learn how to believe in yourself and I had to learn how to build more maturity and humility. It's been a really interesting drive to 5 for both of us. And now that we're both more centered and mature, it's become very clear.
I was a hermit for sure.
I was Still not, am. Dude. I was a social butterfly.
Still am. I like it. Love it.
I'm a hermit now, for sure.
People are always like, how do you work from home? It's like, what? You don't want to? You like
Same.
You like going to the office? Yeah, no, I really like connecting with people. It's like, oh, good for you. Cool. Love that. I connect with people too. It's just different.
Yeah.
On a camera. But yeah, this is my fucking dream.
Same.
My
next
dream
level
life.
lesson?
I already gave mine. I low-key got you to say your next level lesson without asking what your next level lesson was.
Well, I feel like we could tie it in a bow.
Oh, I don't think I could make it better than what I said. I don't remember what I said. That's how good it was. I said it and it's gone into the ethos. I genuinely have prioritize. Yeah, you have to prioritize. I'm not saying put an intrinsic value on people, but like, who would you be most sad seeing less? Start there. And prepare boundaries because there will be people that just don't understand. But like I'm nowadays, I'm just not super accessible anymore because there's other stuff happening. And at the end, I've had times before it was like, oh yeah, I could call somebody up and have that person over to watch the fights. I want to be alone.
It's not just that, but you can't sustain it.
Well, that's a big piece of it.
Because it's, hey, do you want to get lunch? And then it's, hey, you want to get dinner? And then it's, hey, can you come to my birthday?
There's a way to do it. There's a way to have a conversation and say, look, Alan, I love fights. You love fights. I'd love to have you over to watch the fights. I just need to be very honest with you. I don't have a ton of time, and I cannot guarantee the next time you and I are going to see each other. It might be 6 months. It might be 6 weeks. I don't know, but I'd love for you to come up. You can do it. It's just the person's probably they might say no.
Last thing, I know we got to go. I think that this will be of value. When we're younger, I don't think we fully understand. I certainly didn't. We don't understand how much commitment and time it actually takes to have a successful career. If you were to count the number of, last piece. Preschool, and again, this is just the US, but also globally, I know there's similar structures. Preschool, kindergarten, middle school, high school, college, corporate. And then let's say you do eventually become an entrepreneur. Let's say you do take that journey. The amount of time you have available for friends dwindles the entire way. I had more time in high school than I did in college, and I had more time in college than I did in corporate. I had more time in corporate than I did in entrepreneurship. So the amount of time available as you get older is significantly less, assuming you actually, because you buy a car and you buy a home and you have children and you build a family and now you have a serious relationship instead of a dumb, silly high school one. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just the way it works. In college, it's like, oh, I'll hang out with this girl and that's it. We'll just hang out. And it's not a big deal. But when it's your future wife or husband, you have to invest more. You have more responsibility. You have to take better care of it. And it does. It takes, it's a full-time job to be in shape. As you get older, all of a sudden fitness takes more time. As you get older, all of a sudden paying the bills takes a lot more time. When you get older, all of a sudden your intimate relationship takes a lot more time. Everything when you get older takes way more investment. And I think that's something we just were not well equipped to understand. Because when you get older, the responsibilities pile up so fucking much. And if you're not aware of that, like, it's great to have your own home. It's great to have a magnificent car. It's great to achieve your dreams. But underneath all of that is an investment that no one tells you about when you're a kid. And when you're a kid, you kind of don't have to do that much other than show up to school and like pay for whatever. As a kid, I had a lot more time to do what I wanted instead of what must be done as a mature adult. And I think that's why we romanticize being a kid again, because when you're a kid, you can just say, I want to go. We were talking about how I used to ride my bike to the movies with the friend I was talking about at the beginning of this episode. And Emilia went near there because she was driving somewhere, and that's where I used to ride my bike. And she's like, I can't believe, how old were you? I was like, what year was it? Well, we went and saw Finding Nemo. It came out in 2003, so I was 13 years old. She's like, you biked 50 miles when you were 13 years old? She's like, that was like a 25-minute drive. So yeah, back then we did that. She's like, that was kind of reckless. Yeah, 100%. What's my point? We just took a whole day. That's all we did that day. Yeah, just go to the movies. Yeah, it was a whole day.
Of course.
I would never do that now. You can't just take a day. Again, depending on your size of your goals. Yeah. Right? You and I certainly can't.
I would love to, though. I'm going to be honest. Like, I would. I long for that. I miss that. Of course. I miss that.
Can we briefly have you go into that? What's that like? Because you have all these dreams you've achieved, but now it's
just nostalgic to think back. It's just nostalgic. Like, it feels good to think back of. I remember it was like you'd wake up. It's like, what's the weather? It looks nice outside. Wiffle ball. Fuck yeah. And we would just play wiffle ball all day. And it was the freaking. And then when we got too hot, we would go inside and play Xbox. And then when we cooled down, we'd go play wiffle ball again. And it was like.
That was it?
That was it. And then maybe we'd play tag at night. And I was like, oh my God, what a day, huh?
You and I lived very different lives. I'm in there, Bungie.net. In my 20th, what am I? How do I get to number one in the world?
I was playing video games, so I wasn't very good at it. We were playing like MLB hits where it was a baseball game where you could fight.
Yeah.
The good old days. All right, we're going to get out of here because we have other episodes to do.
I do want to make it clear, though, I had a lot of days where I remember we'd go to the beach. 2009, we had a summer where we would party all night, and every freaking nice day, we would all get in the car and go to the beach, and we'd drink all day at the beach. I mean, it was unbelievable. We played basketball all day. We'd party all night, whose house we going to, and the next day we'd wake up and we'd all beach it, and we'd beach it all fucking day, and then we'd rinse and repeat. The summer of 2009 had to be one of the most reckless and fun, awesome summers I've ever had. It was, you're home from college, ain't got shit to do, right? And you're just doing it. And it was a big group of friends that did it all together. And yeah, we ran amok and we had a lot of fun. But the truth is, come on, like, you got to build a resume and actually build a career too. You can't just do that because your future isn't bright if you're only doing that. But you can't. Emilia and I talked last piece, I promise. We talked recently about how we both have partied. We partied so much back in the day. I don't feel like I need any of that ever again. I mean, I had plenty of that. There's more than I should have, to be honest. So I feel like you and I, when we finally got together in business and built this, I don't need to frolic. I got all that out of my system and then some. You know, I mean, I partied hard, and I don't ever need to do that again. I don't need to do any of that. So I love simple. I love that. So anyways, I know not everyone feels that way, but there's something to learn in all this.
Always. I can party every once in a while. Well, every once in a while, though. Nothing crazy. I'm not, like, what are we doing?
Well, you didn't party as much as I did either, by the way.
No, I mean, I didn't go to college. I was blackout drunk in Uxbridge, Massachusetts, but that doesn't really count for much. You know, I'll have a strong whiskey from time to time.
Four Locos?
No, I did Sparks. Four Locos, I was drinking Sparks before Four Locos were even a freaking thing. Sparks were the original Four Locos. Bad. Come at me, bro. You were only supposed to have 2. It said, like, do not drink any more than 2. I was crushing 4 to 6 a night. Let's go, baby. What are we doing? They tasted like cough syrup. All right. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Each and every one of you so very much. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it next level. Next Level Nation.